What's up, Facebook Live? Joe coming to you here, 12:30 Thursday afternoon. Just getting back from Newport News, Virginia. Getting a nice chiropractor adjusted. I know my lower back, my middle back's been a little bit stiff, so I got to loosen all those things up. Always constantly feeding the body, taking care of the body, taking care of the health, drinking my lemon water. Reminder, it's a daily process. Always taking care of our bodies, eating right, thinking right, sleeping right, drinking right. That's what's going to take care of that body, and that's what the chiropractor said. I haven't been down here since June was the last time I was down here. Good to see you, Gene. How you doing today? So I was down here at the chiropractor. My middle back's been very stiff last couple of days. It was like got a kink in it. It doesn't hurt, just like a kink in there. So I haven't been down here in a while. It takes me 45-50 minutes. I don't have that kind of time right now with all the stuff going on. So had to make and invest the time in order to make this kink go away so we can continue on house number 2. But this morning I was having a great conversation with a friend of mine regarding midlife crisis. And what does that mean? What is a midlife crisis? What happens when we get to that 40 to 50 years old? Most people, it's 40 to 50 years old, we get this midlife crisis going on. What is that? What does that mean? And why does that happen in that time frame? So I know a lot of us were constantly going on this life journey from when we're probably like around usually about 13 to 15, we start getting an idea of some of the things that we want to do in this world. And turn this heat down here. It's getting a little warm here, waiting for the bridge to open. And what happens is that since the mind doesn't mentally mature, Gene, until we're 40 to 50 years old, we're going our entire lives focused on one or two things that we think we're supposed to be doing. And all of a sudden we get to be closing in on that 40, 50-year-old time frame, and we're like, I got what I was after all these years, but the reality is that's not what I wanted. And now we just start thinking about, the mind starts racing around going crazy. So I just wasted all these years of my life. I wasted all these years of my life. Trust in the timing, Gene. Absolutely perfect timing. This is what happens. Just got off a coaching call as well with a couple guys, and one guy hasn't been on this coaching call probably for 6 months, and he just shows up. It's like no coincidences in life is what we call that. There are no coincidences in life. When you're supposed to be where you're supposed to be, like the conversation I was having this morning with this good friend of mine, is that the right things, the right people, and the right message will show up. We have to be aware to understand. Good to see you, Sheila. We have to be aware to understand is that we're exactly where we're supposed to be. And when it's supposed to happen for you, it'll show up. Trust in the timing, trust in the process. We've been saying this for a long time now. Trust in the timing, trust in the process. You just never know when your time's going to come. And Sheila, you're probably going through some of this right now, a midlife crisis. I went all this time, wife, kids, husbands, we get all this stuff, got the house, got the dogs, we do all these things, and all of a sudden, we get to be in our 40s to 50s. We're like, this is not what I want. I have to get out. And we have to make some hard decisions, and some of those decisions were very painful. My decision at that point was very painful. But the reality was, we were chasing an illusion of what everybody else wanted for us. What they told us, they planted a seed in us back when we were 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. This is what you should do. But the reality is that's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's what you thought you were supposed to be doing. And all of a sudden we get to be 40 years old, and here's what happened. Here's the number one thing that happens between 40 and 50 years old. The mind mentally matures. That's why we feel like we wasted all these years, wasted all this time. But the reality is, I was having that conversation this morning and said, here's what happens. You are having life experiences. They were not good, they were not bad, they were just an experience. And from this place going forward, your life is just starting now, and you are becoming the experiencer of life. With an R at the end, the experiencer of life. And that's what happens. We finally find that true happiness, Sheila. We were chasing what everybody else wanted, the illusion of life, what they wanted for us. But the reality is, that was not what we wanted. And then we feel like we're not enough. Oh my God, how am I going to start over? I put on pounds. I'm not as attractive as I used to be. Who's going to want me? And we start playing all these stories in our head. But there is love and connection for everyone out there once you become the love and the connection. powerful insights this morning. And I know they received a gift. Once you become the love and connection, you will receive the love and connection. And ultimately, that's what we all want. Love, connection, and fulfillment. So if you're not fulfilled in life right now and you're hearing this message, know that you have plenty of time. There is no rush, Tracy. Good to see you. There's no rush to get anywhere. We always thought there was like a starting line and a finish line, and when I cross the end zone, I get my touchdown. No, that is not life. Life never ends. The journey of life never ends. Even when the body is no longer here, the spirit will go on forever. Your spirit will continue. Changing forms is all it is. I could teach you all about this down the road in a future podcast and go deeper into some live events about how we change form. The reality is the life that you were chasing for the first 40 years of your life was not your life. That was your mom's life, your dad's life for you. It was the teacher, somebody that told you something that you were supposed to go do this. Yeah, that sounds good. I'm gonna be a doctor, I'm gonna be a nurse, I'm gonna be a fireman, I'm gonna be a policeman. I wanna do all these things, and the reality is we do those, and then all of a sudden at 40, 45, 50 years old, we realize this is not what I wanted. And then we're not happy inside. Now how am I gonna go tell my husband? How am I gonna tell my wife? This is not what I wanted. For you guys live,
there's a slowdown ahead.
Go back and start from the beginning and watch this training video, this insight video. But this is what happens. The mind mentally matures, Sarah. Good to see you. At 40 and 50 years old, you went this whole life's journey. I wanted to be a chiropractor. I wanted to be an assistant, was what Kathy was always told. Be a secretary, be an assistant. Kathy's life purpose is to rescue animals. That's what we're supposed to be doing, finding our life purpose. So I was having this deep conversation with this person this morning. I said, listen, from 0 to 40, 50 years old, you were just the experience of life. It's not good, it's not bad, Aaron Knight. It's not good, it's not bad. You are just the experience of life. And that wisdom, as I was just having a conversation at the chiropractor's office with the little kids, they were 9 and 10 years old. Like, Joe, my God, I haven't seen you in 4 months. Where you been? I've been studying up on my chakras. And I quizzed them on the chakras. And guess what? At 9 and 10 years old, they knew what the chakras were. So if you don't know what the chakras are, I would suggest you look that up on Google. I can give you more insights on that down the road. But these kids did their homework and they researched it, and I quizzed them on it, and they knew all the answers. And the younger one knew the answers before the older one. She was so in tune with what I was teaching them. So know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Know that your life is just starting now. If you're between 40 and 50 years old and you were going through a crisis. So now you got some hard decisions to make. Number one thing you gotta do is raise your level of awareness. Number two thing you have to do, raise your level of consciousness. Number three thing you have to do is have a hard, real conversation with number one, yourself. And then your significant other or other people that are around you. Saying, look, I am not happy in life. I don't like where I am. I don't like where I'm going. And I'm not sure where you are, but most of the times, the other person's in that same boat. They're not happy where they are or where they're going. So it's time to have that real conversation. But what courted you to become one and get together way back when, there's opportunity to rekindle that flame. Or maybe you're just the wrong relationship. You have to move on like Sheila. Whatever's right for you back then, as you grow, is not right for you now. And I know a lot of us get up there on the altar and we say, I do. We take that literally and personally, and that was me. I did the same thing. For me to go through a divorce, one of the most painful things ever, I had pain in my side for 2.5 years. And Sheila knows all about this. But when I came to terms with it, I made that decision. And then when it finally ended, the pain went away. So it was suffering. I was suffering for 2.5 years, being out of integrity with myself. And the other person ain't wrong. We still love them. For us in that moment, we thought it was the right thing because we were young, we didn't know any better. It was just the experience. This is pretty deep for so many people. Some of you guys are really getting this. I understand, and I know you understand. We don't make the other people wrong. It wasn't bad. It wasn't they're bad people. We always still love them. We love everybody that comes into our circle, and when we say I do to it. The reality is maybe it's not the right person for you, for me, for us. And you have to cut those ties and move on. And that just becomes another experience. But now once you're awakened and once you're aware and you understand, it's your responsibility. The ability to respond, Aaron Knight. You know all about this. Your ability to respond going forward is your responsibility. Don't blame, like yesterday we talked about, don't blame and complain other people for your circumstance. You've got yourself into this predicament. Own it is the first step, and then move forward. Don't make anybody else wrong. Own it. Because every one of us is a two-way story. Every one of us got to own our stuff. Nobody's perfect. I'm far from perfect. We're all a work in progress. We're not broken people. I'll tell you right now, we are not broken. We are all just a work in progress. We were the experience, but now we're the experiencer that we understand. If you've been following this journey for 304 days, you now start to have an inkling of understanding. And if you haven't, you're going to have to binge watch these and go back and watch some of these. I will be putting some of this stuff together, shortening this stuff up so you get the key insights, but I would highly suggest go back and start watching from the beginning. Because the guy that you see here before you today at 304 is not one. Constantly evolving, constantly expanding, constantly pushing myself past the barriers, because pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, and I was suffering being in a marriage. And you guys know I'm person of my word. When I say I do, I did. For me to make the decision to walk away was very painful. And it hurt. There was a lot of pain associated with that. And that is the truth. That is the reality of it. So for you, for me, when we get to that space of the mind mentally maturing between 40 and 50 years old, it's your responsibility to make a decision and communicate that with those that you love, those that you're in a relationship that you're not supposed to be in it with. And when you own it, you take responsibility. Hey man, this is just my situation. This is your situation. Don't blame people. Don't make other people wrong. It's not nobody's fault. It's just what is. It's simply just what is, a life experience. Now that you're awakened, though, it's your ability to respond, to make that choice, to let go what's holding you back and live your on-purpose life today. Today is the first day of your life, is what I told her on the phone this morning. Today is the first day of your life. You are just getting started. And from this space, because my dad's still playing softball at 82, as I was telling the chiropractor, there's no reason for any of us who can't start life over at 40, 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old. And have that fulfillment when we go to our final resting place. That's the secret to the game of life. Having fulfillment, having love, having connection is the secret to a successful life. But if you don't want anybody to find out that I was wrong, I made a wrong decision, I'm never wrong, I can't prove myself wrong, so I'm not going to tell anybody anything. I'm going to go to my deathbed with this pain inside of me. Horrible life to live, in my opinion. You deserve happiness, you deserve peace, you deserve love, and you deserve connection. And to find that, you have to go within. Because the kingdom and the queendom, as we said before, lies within each and every one of us. It's our responsibility to unlock that kingdom, to find our true purpose, our true calling, of why we were created. I hope this message resonates with some of you, because I know the person on the other end of that phone this morning got a huge breakthrough and a huge wake up. So when you watch this later, I love and appreciate you, and I honor you more than anything for taking the permission to reaching out to another person saying, hey, I lost my way. And especially you men, you don't want to ask for directions. I don't want to ask for directions. I'll just drive around lost for the next 2 hours before I have to ask somebody directions. Never mind asking somebody directions in life. But the reality is there are no directions in life. You have to be the life experiencer until your mind mentally matures at 40 and 50. You become the experiencer, and from that place, you just get started. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the private messages. I'm telling you, when it's all said and done together, you'll rise as one. Have a blessed, fantastic Thursday. I will see you tomorrow, God willing.